I used it day one, and I hadn't even finished with the sample. I went right online. I could tell already, and I ordered a bottle right away. Like, I was like, oh yeah, this is the answer. And I actually got the free sample originally, the little tiny bottle. And I was talking back and forth with the people. I used it day one, and I hadn't even finished with the sample. I went right online. I could tell already, and I ordered a bottle right away because I knew. Like, I was like, oh yeah, this is the answer. And I mean, I've tried hairspray, glue sticks, glue concoctions. I ordered something off of Amazon that was supposed to be a miracle adhesive, and I mean, some of them helped, but none of them were as guaranteed. You know, warping, and then there would be an island of the part initially that was not connected to the rest, and the print head would crash into it and pop that sucker right off every time, even with a heated bed and other adhesives. I've tried a lot of them. Practically impossible otherwise. So from my point of view, I mean, it can literally, it's almost like it's a repair in a bottle, because sometimes I have to, before I'd have to change the orientation of a print or the layout of the supports and this, that, and the other thing, babysit it just to make sure it got started. And now it's, if I put the adhesive on, and I don't have to put it on every time, you know, it can go as many prints, so it lasts a long time, you know, and it works. So it solves a lot of problems before I have to do a lot of maintenance. I save a lot of time by doing many smaller parts on one plate, whereas before I would worry about them lifting and you know, ruining a whole print, because making little tiny parts, one gets knocked off and it can crash into others, and it creates the spaghetti, as they call it, all over the place, and it's a huge problem. But now I can just put down a coat of the adhesive, and I know that all of them will stick, and so that it'll be completed. So it saves me a huge amount of time, you know, just to be able to set a whole plate up. Well, I mean, Aquanet is, first of all, I find it to be messy. No matter what you do, since it's aerosolized, it will float around the room. It will land on other parts of the printer, and dust will collect up. So unless you want to take the build plate off and then go outside and spray it, and it just you know, anything like that is not really, it's not really meant for 3D printing, and its limitations are obvious. And of course, it doesn't stick as well. So I would tell them to save themselves a lot of grief and just go straight for what works best. It's a great value. You last a really long time, and it'll save you a lot of banging your head against the walls to get started. If you were a professional, I'd ask you why you weren't already using it, and I'd feel really good when I get to tell you about it, because, you know, even us pros have our problems, and once you see how well it works, you're never going to want to go back to anything else. So print that really got me interested in a more advanced adhesive was a mask I was printing for a client that had very little touching the actual bed and around in like a crescent shape, but then had a lot of weight at the top. So every time I would print, even with I print on glass, even with perfectly clean glass, or with I would make an Elmer's glue mixture and a couple other things I tried. It would maybe adhere at the beginning, sometimes not, and then as it got towards the top and that mass is moving around, it would end up popping loose, the supports would come loose, and it was just, I needed to find something that would work better. Yeah, we're a small company. We do a lot of online sales through Etsy or Shopify, and on Facebook as well. And we also take commissions from clients who are interested, everything from cosplay, people who need things made, up to we have a local mold making company. So, you know, we work with everything, even some engineering students. You know, their colleges will have a full 3D printing lab, but if all the printers are busy, you know, that's not helping you out. So will come to us, and we'll get it done overnight, crunch time, and have it ready in the morning for them. You know, I'm printing 2 of them right now, 2 more masks, also with low bed surface touching. So if, you know, I couldn't, the first thing I do before I start a print like that is put on a fresh coat of the nano adhesive, because it's night and day. Without it, I mean, I can almost guarantee something's not going to stick somewhere on that. It's usually a support or something smaller that doesn't have as much surface. But if I put the adhesive on there, I don't have to worry about it. You know, especially on something like a mask or another tall print, sometimes the supports outweigh the amount of plastic for the actual part. So I have to build that into my cost when I'm quoting it. And I've been able to reduce the amount of supports overall way, way down. And to the point where it's no more than 25% on average on a tricky piece. And we try to run a pretty honest operation, so we pass almost all that savings right on to the customer. So as you can imagine, they're pretty happy about it. And we get a lot more word of mouth. I get a lot more new customers, so it's kind of a virtuous cycle.